What's going on there, YouTube? And welcome to Fresh Comic Stories. Guys, this is the channel that we basically sit down and cover different kinds of comic book stories. Now, today we are going to jump back over to IDW and continue our coverage over the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And today, we're going to cover a storyline called Sins of the Fathers. Now, this is only a two-part storyline, but this two-part storyline does build up a lot of things that is going to happen down the road for the Turtles. And so guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please hit that like button down below and also subscribe for more comic book stories like this in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But let's go ahead and dive into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Sins of the Fathers. And so we pick up with the Turtles, and this is a couple days after Volume 3, where they were able to save their father Splinter from Shredder. Something else to point out is that their new base is an old shop that is owned by April O'Neil's father. We see the Turtles having fun and just trying to relax a little bit. Now, we do see that while the Turtles are having a good old time, Splinter is worried for the future, because he found out that his old adversary is alive again, and that person is the freaking Shredder. And so you have Splinter wondering what he can do to get his sons ready for the big battle to come down the road. Before he is able to think more about that, you have Casey Jones crash into the building. Remember, this is coming from Casey Jones' one-shot, where we learn why Casey Jones protects his father. Even though his dad is abusing him, his mother asks Casey to watch over his dad, because she knows that his father would go back to his old ways, which of course is drinking a lot and abusing the people around him. And so at the end of that one shot, we saw Casey Jones' dad beat on Casey once again, but Casey went over to the Turtles' place, where the Turtles found out Casey's father is still beating on him. That is when you have Raphael just run off, because he is going to beat down on Casey Jones' father. Then you have Splinter run off to go chase after Raphael before he does something he is going to regret. That is when we jump over to the base of Shredder, and we see Shredder training his granddaughter Karai. Now, this is very important, because you have Shredder keep running the same drill over and over again, but Karai gets to a point where she just had enough. She feels like this training is pointless for her to do, since she is the second best ninja to her grandfather. But Shredder finds her completely useless. He looks at his granddaughter as a very strong ninja, but she does not have the ability to lead an army like he does. Now, Karai disagrees in a hurry, because, well, before Shredder was brought back to life, she was the one who went around and rebuilt the Foot Clan from basically nothing. Even stated that her father was completely ruining the Foot Clan. And so, if it was not for her, there would be no Foot Clan in today's time. Then she was the one, of course, to bring back Shredder. And so she feels like that she is the best person to be second in command. You didn't have Shredder basically tell her to try her best to beat him. Even with her best men, they all get beat down just like that by Shredder. And this proves how strong he truly is. That is when you have Shredder say that it is time for him to find someone else to be second in charge. That is when we jump over to Stockman. And if you remember, that Stockman is the guy who runs Stock Gen, the company that made all of the different mutated animals that is running around. But General Krang kidnapped Stockman for failing to capture Splinter back in Volume 3. But when Stockman wakes up in a cell, he's able to get out and look around to see where he is at. As he is going through the place, he sees some of General Krang's stone men soldiers. And so of course he freaks out and rushes into another room and see all of these small creatures. Stockman is even more confused on what is happening here. And then you have General Krang walk in as well, telling Stockman that it is time for them to have a little talk, and then shows off that the body we are seeing for Krang is just armor. Reality inside the armor is a small little alien creature controlling the armor. Before we are able to learn more about that, we jump over to Raphael arriving at the home of Casey Jones. We see Casey Jones' father freak out because he remembers Raphael from the first time they met, where Raphael basically knocked him out. But this time you can see Raphael is just full of rage. This could lead to a battle where Raphael might actually kill Casey Jones' father. But then you have Splinter walk in and stop him, trying to ease Raphael from being completely angry. When Raphael is not listening to Splinter, you have Splinter put a knife towards Casey Jones' father's neck, saying he is going to kill him off his own self. That is where you have Splinter try to tie in the lesson to a moment where Splinter learns how to control his anger by meeting the Turtles' mother. If you remember that in the IDW timeline for the Turtles, they have been reincarnated into their new lives and bodies. But in their past lives, they used to live in ancient Japan, where Splinter was a master ninja who was part of the Foot Clan, but left because it was being turned into an evil group. He had 4 sons and a wife. Of course, the wife is the mother of the Turtles. But he tells Raphael how when they met, she taught him how to control his anger and learn how to anger can lead to consequences. And Splinter leaves Raphael the choice on what to do with Casey Jones' father. Then we jump over to General Krang and Stockman. If you remember, General Krang just revealed that he is actually some small creature inside some armor. That is when you have Krang tell Stockman that he is an alien from another dimension. And the other creatures that look like him, them and Krang are the only people left from their race. And their race is called Ultram. They are from a world called Ultraminian. I really hope I pronounced that correctly. We learned that Ultrams used to be in charge of different planets. They had an empire and Krang's father was the person in charge. But we learned that something led to their downfall and most of Ultrams were killed and the planet Ultraminian got taken out completely. Before he is able to explain more about what had happened, you have General Krang reveal a portal that leads to his dimension. And so Krang was going to break down the origin more for Stockman, but people ran through the portal trying to attack Krang and his stone soldiers. Now Krang is able to knock these people out who are running through the portal and send them back through it. We learned that the reason why Stockman was recruited by General Krang, the first reason is to help him build an army because Krang is having a war with a planet named Naruto or Naruto. I cannot pronounce that name at all. Krang is trying to take over that planet in that dimension. But the last reason why Stockman was recruited by Krang, because Krang wants Stockman to work on a project called the Technodrome. And we finally jump back over to Splinter and Raphael. This is where we see Raphael finally learn the lesson on how to control his anger. Because if he falls to anger, he would have killed Casey Jones' father. That would lead to a bunch of different problems down the road for Raphael and even the Turtles as well. And so you have Splinter let Casey Jones' father go and tell Raphael to gather up Casey Jones' stuff from his room. and they are going to leave. This leads to Splinter and Raphael going back home to the Turtles and tell Casey that he's going to stay there with them from now on. But then you have Splinter tell the Turtles, Casey, and April O'Neil that they are a family, but they need to work together because there is a war coming against against Shredder, and Splinter feels like it is time to get the Turtles ready for this war. That is when we jump over to Shredder to close this video off, and we see who he has selected to be his second in command of the Foot Clan. He tells Karai to go out there and get Leonardo for him to make him join the Foot Clan. And this is where we are going to end today's video. So guys, please leave me a like down below and also subscribe for more comic book stories in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I am out of here, and I will see you on the next comic book video. Later, guys.